All right, guys, how you doing? I had a request to go over a couple figures in regards to their articulation, showing the full 360 viewpoint. This is my Judge Dredd. It's a little different than my video of Judge Dredd. I get rid of the red the red highlights and stuff on like the pouches and different things. So I gave him all black and the gold. And he's very articulated. The only thing, this armor here, that's about as far as his arms can extend out that way. But other than that, he's got full articulation going around. You guys have to forgive me in regards to my articulation. I don't really know. I just know he's very articulated. The only really limitation is that one there. In regards to the legs, he's fully posable. It's a Marauders base body, which are very highly articulated. You can probably get him in any pose, any stance that you wanted. Really, it's like a single, maybe a double jointed knee. I really don't know. Double jointed, single jointed, it all serves the purpose that I want in regards. I don't pose him in any crazy poses. Obviously, I don't play with them. I just I set them up for display to where they look the best, depending on the environment or wherever I decide to put them. I can pose them however I like. He also twists. It's a little limited on the twists, but you can get a good twist in. So this particular figure is you can pose him any old way you want. And this Punisher Marvel Universe head sculpt was perfect for this. It gives the Judge Dredd kind of frown that he's noted for. So, and I was able to sculpt the helmet, which I was happy with. And that's the full view of the helmet. That's his back. You got more holes there where you could put more pouches or anything, weapons up here as well. And all this, other than the head, is provided by Marauders. The chest armor, the shoulder armor. I don't know if you can see the shoulder armor. These grenades as well come with a little clip that you can attach that particular grenade to. The only thing I wish I could do is try to sculpt like his name Dredd with his badge and get the eagle down here and sculpt up the shoulder armor to look more Dredd-like, more movie-like. But for my purposes, this is perfect. You get the idea, and he came out really well. But yeah, so he is very posable. The only thing you can't do is really go up on the arms. That one's a little bit more. But I had to glue those on because they come with a peg hole and they were popping off. So, but very customizable, very posable, there's plenty you could do with this particular figure. And this particular weapon here is also Marauder's weapon, but I painted it to look more in uniform with what Judge Dredd probably would carry. And I got several of these that I painted up. I got a knife. This knife is removable. Just slides right back in. Everything else I'm pretty sure I glued for the most part because I don't plan on selling them anytime soon. I did put them on eBay, but regretfully putting it on, so I'm actually asked a higher amount than what I knew he would go for. So I'm glad he didn't sell. So, but yeah, so that's this one. I finished this one a while ago. Let's see, this one here. If you just saw my last video, this is my executioner. My last video though, I added the I didn't care for the head sculpt I gave him, so I added this particular mask over that head sculpt, and I really like this look a lot better. I don't know if you guys can see. The mask does fit his face perfectly, and that's a Marauders mask. This base body is a Boss Fight Studio Vertuvian Hex. It comes just blank, with a blank head, and customizable. But this particular figure's articulation is normal articulation for any figure. He his arms goes out. They rotate around very nicely, as you can see here, both of them. And in regards to the back of the figure, that's what it looks like, and that's how I ended up attaching this particular leather. I just measured it out, glued it. Did the same over here, glued it. And I left the front pretty seamless because obviously he'll be posed in the front. Covered it up with this another piece of leather, and you can still get some really good poses out of even with the leather. There's a lot of variety of poses you can get. He doesn't really go forward too far. It's kind of restricted by the clothing, but for my purposes, it serves the purpose well. I don't know if you guys can see the eyes through the mask. Looks pretty cool, and just a different blood splatter. I used some gloss medium with some red for the splatter of the blood. Probably could have came out better, but I mean, glossy red, I mean, that comes across as blood to me. I did his feet as well. This chain was just a piece of chain that I purchased at like AC Moore, and just glued it to the leather to give it a different kind of look. This is a Boss Fight Studio accessory. Painted it like a bronze, and added some red blood splatter. But this is probably to date one of my customs I really like. Always wanted to do this kind of style custom. And I did his base. Let me see if I can find his base. That's his base there. It's a Boss Fight Studio base. Did some blood splatter. But my intention with this guy is to build a diorama for this particular figure, which I think would be really cool. Just in an environment. It'll be just a small display. Most of my dioramas are pretty small, but it's just to be displayed with certain figures. I'm fortunate enough to where I can customize and make my own dioramas. I'm sure there's folks that can do a heck of a lot better, but for my purposes, I'm pretty pleased with what I can most of the time come up with. I do sell some of my stuff, but I don't sell a lot of it. A lot of it I like to keep. It's just when you do sell dioramas, sell customs, the shipping on things are ridiculous. Most of the time I offer free shipping. But nonetheless, it's ridiculous what the post office charges for shipping. Anything over £1, I don't think you can send first class anymore. So, and then you're looking at like $9 to ship down the road. I'm sure if you ship through eBay, you get discounts. I just don't do enough of shipping to go ahead and do that. But his head's nice and articulated. You can pose him any old way. But that's my newest custom, probably my favorite to date. I really enjoy creating things like this. My wife laughs at me because of the gruesomeness of some of my figures, but I like the medieval. I like Spartacus show. I don't like just violence for violence, but medieval style. I think this style's pretty cool. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see the flesh tone. I think this was a honey wheat base body, and I painted it with some. I use these paints, model color, for my figures. I use let's see. I also have some Reaper Master Series paint, which are really nice. Folks use these on a lot of folks use these on miniatures, and they're good quality paints. I don't have any P3 hanging around. I use P3, which is just one of my favorite paints to use on my figures. For my dioramas, I use these cheap paints, craft paints. Americana. I use Folk Art, Nicole's Craft, whatever's on sale, and then I can get. Only because the dioramas take a lot more paint, and these do a really nice job on the dioramas. If I was to use this paint on this figure, it just on figures, this paint does not do a good job. I don't recommend it. If you're on a budget, I mean, it's up to you. But oh, here's a P3. That's what I use. That's my favorite paint. You can get them in sets of 6, and they're pretty reasonable. But this is Battlefield Brown, which is a nice paint. Let's see. Let me show you guys another custom that I'm kind of revamping. I was doing a Wasteland custom. But this is, once again, a Boss Fight Studio base body with G.I. Joe legs that I really had to modify quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm sure you can. That small little space right there. I could have modified it a little bit more to get it to sit flush. But the G.I. Joe legs fit pretty good after some dremeling. And this one is really posable. You got all the G.I. Joe posability, Boss Fight posability. I want to add a belt. I have his head hanging around here somewhere. I think you guys have seen the head with the hat. Here it is. I just have to attach it via. Most of the time, I'll use magnets to attach my heads if the peg holes don't fit. So I'll just dig that out a little. I'll add a magnet here, and sometimes I might even just get a small screw and screw it to where it's flush, and then the magnet would attach there. That really works nicely. Magnets to attach heads work really nice. I don't have any nearby to where I used it, but I have used it. But this guy's really really posable. But I just wanted to revamp him. I wasn't too happy with how he looked. So he's in process. I don't know if you guys can see the shading on the body. This one, I believe, was a gray base body, which is a pain in the butt to paint, because when you get paint rub, when you move your joints, and the paint rub's a pain in the butt. It really deters from a figure. And I don't know if you can see the gray there, but obviously you can pose them to where it's not covered. I'll probably take my Dremel down anywhere where there's some paint rub. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's the problem with using a skin tone on a base body that's gray. You get that paint rub. So Boss Fight Studios does sell flesh tone, but I picked this up on eBay fairly cheap. So, but yeah, and here's the back, and that's a Marauders holder. The gun is removable. These are Marauders gloves that I had to cut that down so it can fit in the peg hole nicely. And I did it on both sides. But this guy's in process. I'll probably do a review on him when he's all done. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. I know I have more hanging around. This guy is a G.I. Joe Duke but Marauders style base body. I think he came out pretty cool. He's not done. I do want to paint this a little darker. I just got this in the mail from Marauders. I want to add some pouches, some ammo, different things, but this one's really cool. A lot of the G.I. Joe figures are nice, but a lot of them you get, I just don't really care for. I think a professional company can do such a better job. Not complaining, because I buy them, I like them, and if I don't like them, I'll customize them. But I mean, I'm thankful they put out figures that I can use or I can display right out of the package. But I'm not one of these guys that complain about what they do. I just, if I don't like it, I'll make it to where I like it. I don't know where this Duke head came from. I think it's the one with the flag. Might be a 50th anniversary 3-pack, I think it came from. And this hat is Marauders. And it fits okay on his head. I think he looks pretty cool. This gun is Marauders. I'm sorry if I keep mentioning Marauders, but they're my favorite company. They're class act, and they offer really nice products. So everything here is a base body. Everything's painted though. I got it in a different style, and everything ended up. I ended up painting everything on my own, and I like doing that. But you do run into some paint rub every now and then, and where you do, you take your Dremel and you clean it up, and then you seal it, which is really nice. But this guy's he's probably about 85% finished. I got some odds and ends I have to finish up with him. But here's the rear view. Get more areas to put whatever you want on the belt. You got a peg there for some backpacks. But this one came out pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with him. Yeah, very very posable, just like any G.I. Joe. I won't bore you with all the articulation, but yeah, he's got very good articulation. You can pretty much pose him in any stance that you wanted. Let's see. This is a Daredevil. It's not a custom, but I did just go on the Boss Fight Studio website, and I ordered a black blank. So I'm going to customize a Daredevil of my own. I mean, this one's not too bad, but I really don't care for this style leg. He really, I mean, he's got some posability, but that's as far as back as he goes. Yeah, but he'll be along the lines of this this base body, which is he's pretty jacked up. So Daredevil's going to be hitting the weights, and he'll be ready for some battle over here. To my opinion, he's a little too skinny. And this one's probably the other extreme, probably a little too muscular. But we're gonna go with the muscular version. So if you're battling in the streets, I would think every little bit of muscle helps. But yeah, so this is gonna be my next custom. I want to make something along these lines, but just a little better articulation and things like that. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's any other customs I can show you. Let me show you. I'll be right back. Let me get the Zartan, and I'll show you the updated armor that I did for him. Hold on. This is a Zartan armor. Zartan. It was a 50th anniversary. Do I have the base body around here? That's the base body that he came with. To me, I really don't like the legs. I don't like that look here. Even the shoulders, they look okay, but it could have used some paint. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but in my opinion, this looks way better than what this looked like. So, I mean, when you put this on the shelf and display him, in my eyes, he just looks so much better than when you display this. I mean, this is a good figure. It was a good figure. But it's just not what I wanted. But I'll use this guy for parts or whatever. For future customs. And that's why I like Marauders and Boss Fight Studios, because you can take figures purchased from them and they're intended to be customized, where you don't have to ruin existing figures. But that's why I like purchasing. They're a little pricey. Boss Fight Studios especially is a little pricey. But Marauders is very reasonable, and the quality is bar none. But this is the Zartan. I used some Marauders armor, and I trimmed it down. Added some gunshot shells, a little armor patch. These are... did I glue these on? I don't know if I glued these on or not. But I think this is glued on. I gave him multicolored... it's kind of a review of my last... But in regards to mobility, he can move around. Obviously, he can't go out that way, but he does twist. Take him off the stand. He does bend. I don't know if you can see. That's another area. This guy was gray, or black. He was black. So there's some paint rub or paint that I didn't paint because of when you put the armor down, you don't see it, but when you pose them. So I'll have to go in there with some paint. You see the black there? I think once I paint that, it won't need to be dremeled, because there's pretty good space in there. So I just have to... I pose them stagnant pretty much, and just kind of like this. And I bet you the same thing there. Yeah, see that? I didn't paint that, but I'm going to have to if I want to pose them. So, but that should paint up fine without having to do any dremeling, because there's a good enough space there. Yeah, so I'll go back and do that. But this is attached. I love the belt with the pouches, knife. This is the back of the armor. Obviously, you got room for a backpack, some more accessories on the belt. But this is another one of my favorite figures. I really like this figure and how it came out. I used the head from the base body that I showed you. He came from there. I think a head sculpt. I think the head really makes a figure. I really like. That's why I had to go ahead and change this one, because in my eyes, the sculpt work that I did on the mask, I really didn't like. It's my first time trying that. And in my eyes, this looks a whole lot better. In my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Well, this is my Zartan. He was a lot of fun to do. I'm glad I have the ability to be able to pose him, customize him. So let me know what you guys think. I have a lot more to show you, but maybe that'll be for another video. I'm sure I bored the crap out of you guys. And my daughter just got home from school, so she hears me talking to myself. She's going to think her dad's going crazy. So, hey guys, thanks for checking things out. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more videos. Thank you.